So our last example is, of course, a word problem. And there's two word problem types sort of in this section. They're really the same problem. One of them is about supplementary angles and one is about complementary angles. And the only difference is what do the angles sum to. So here's the setup. Two angles are supplementary if the sum of their measures is 180. Find two supplementary angles such that the larger angle is 114 degrees more than twice the smaller angle. This should really say 180 degrees and 114 degrees. Okay. So I need two angles, right? And I think I've talked about this in class. I have two angles I need, so two unknowns, which means I'm going to need two equations, and that's where the system of equations is coming in. Let's go ahead and make two angles. Just call them A and B. I'm going to make A the smaller angle and B the bigger angle. Okay? So A is going to be the smaller angle and B will be the bigger angle. Now what you decide to name your angles is up to you. A and B, C, those are pretty like standard angle names, so that's why I'm going to stick with those. It is important though that you label which one's smaller and which one's bigger, because otherwise you might get confused at the end of your problem. Okay, so two angles are supplementary if the sum of their measures is 180. So that's the first piece of information in my problem. The first piece of information is that they sum to 180. The second piece of information is larger is 114 more than twice the smaller. So that's going to give me my two equations. The first one says they sum to 180. So whatever the bigger and smaller angle are, they need to add up to 180. That's equation 1. Equation 2 says larger or bigger angle is, so in math, we would say B is, remember equal sign means is, 114 more than twice the smaller angle. Okay, so if I'm 5 years more than you, then whatever your age is, you add 5. So if it's 114 more than, we're going to end up adding 114. What am I going to add 114 to? So twice the smaller angle. So twice means 2 times. 2 times what? Smaller angle. So that's my equation 2. So A plus B is 180 and B is 2A plus 114. So this is exactly like that garden problem I was talking about at the beginning of the section at 8R1. I've got a relationship between the two. The larger angle is 114 more than twice, and I have a constraint on them, the fact that they have to add up to 180. All right, so with these, substitution is a pretty natural choice because I already have B equals. So we proceed by substitution. So sub 2 into 1. Equation 1 says that A plus B equals 180, but equation 2 says any B can be rewritten as 2A plus 114. All right, so there's no more A, this is linear, or sorry, there's no more B, this is linear and A. Now we can solve for A. A plus 2A is 3A. Uh, 180 minus 114, so 66. So, you know, the hundreds subtract. 80 minus 14, well, 80 minus 10 is 70. Then I have to subtract another 4, which would take me down to 66. And then divide by 3. So 66 divided by 3 is 22. So A is 22 degrees. That means then that B, which is 2A plus 114, is 2 times 22 plus 114, which is 44 plus 114, or 158. Word problem, word answer. The angles are 22 degrees and 158 degrees. Done. Now the other problem type that they have that kind of is like this is they say they're complementary, which just means that they add to 90 instead of 180. But other than that, it's the same problem.